The stamp duty holiday has finished as of the 31st of March 2025, with a logjam of over 575,000 buyers all looking to transact in the last few weeks of March. That will now generate a whopping 142 million in extra taxes, so keep watching to find out how these tax changes might affect you. So what is stamp duty and why do you need to pay it? Stamp duty is basically a tax on the purchase of a property. Think of it as a fee that you pay to the government every time you buy a home. Now the amount varies depending on the property and your personal circumstances, so whether you're a first-time buyer or maybe buying an additional property as an investment.
Its full name is Stamp Duty Land Tax, which is applied to property or land purchases in England and Northern Ireland. Scotland and Wales have their own versions: Land and Buildings Transaction Tax in Scotland and Land Transaction Tax in Wales.
So who has to pay stamp duty when buying a property? Most people purchasing a new home over the threshold will have to pay stamp duty, but there are various different amounts and discounts available. For instance, if you're a first-time buyer, there are different thresholds and discounts available. If you're buying an additional property, you will pay more. If you're an overseas investor, then there is a further surcharge, and there are also different thresholds in Scotland and Wales. Each of the websites with the various thresholds will be linked down in the description below. So what are the changes from the 1st of April 2025?
Previously, first-time buyers purchasing a property worth up to £425,000 didn't have to pay any stamp duty. If the property was more expensive, they paid tax at 5% on the portion above £425,000 and up to £625,000. But changes introduced this week mean prospective homeowners now face paying up to £6,250 in stamp duty on these property purchases. From the 1st of April, the threshold beyond which first-time buyers must pay stamp duty plummeted to £300,000. First-time buyers are not the only ones affected by the changes. Home movers previously only paid land tax on purchases worth £250,000 or more, but this threshold fell to £125,000 for owners who want to move up the ladder. They will now pay stamp duty at 2% on the property's value between £125,000 and £250,000. Meanwhile, they must pay 5% stamp duty on anything between £250,001 and £925,000 of a home's value. As a result, these homeowners now face paying £5,000 in stamp duty when buying a property worth £300,000. This is £2,500 more than they would have paid before the new thresholds came into effect.
This news is a huge blow for first-time buyers and home movers, making it even more expensive for people to buy their first home. Stamp duty will now be payable on 93% of properties currently for sale, as opposed to 70% before these changes, according to Leeds Building Society.
Here we explain how much stamp duty you will now need to pay. From this week, first-time buyers purchasing a property worth £325,000 will be hit with a stamp duty charge of £1,250, an increase from the previous rate of £0. Meanwhile, those buying a property worth £425,000 will see their stamp duty bill rise to £6,250, when previously they also would have paid nothing. Prospective buyers looking to purchase a home valued at £500,000 will see their stamp duty rise to £10,000, £6,250 more than they would have paid before. Additionally, those buying a property worth £600,000 will see their stamp duty rise to £20,000, up from the previous rate of £8,750. From this week, home movers purchasing a property valued at £250,000 will be hit with a stamp duty charge of £2,500, up from the previous rate of £0. Those buying a property worth £500,000 will see their bill rise to £15,000, £2,500 more than the previous rate. Meanwhile, home buyers purchasing a property valued at £600,000 will see their stamp duty rise to £20,000, up from the previous rate of £17,500. So how can you calculate how much stamp duty you'll need to pay? There are several free online calculators that can help you to figure out how much stamp duty you owe. The best of these is actually the government's own calculator on its website. The link to this is in the description below the video.
So what has been the impact on the market? Well, leading up to this deadline, there was a huge rush of transactions with record sales agreed. Cash-conscious buyers did everything possible to get their transaction across the line before the deadline in order to save additional taxes. Ironically though, this rush of demand caused house prices to increase. Unfortunately, around 70,000 buyers will just miss the deadline at the end of March and will instead complete in April. They are a small portion of the 575,000 transactions that were all going through in the month of March, according to Rightmove. Collectively, the buyers are set to pay a record 142 million of additional tax now these changes have come into effect. Once the dust settles after this increased demand subsides, it'll be interesting to see what happens to the housing market. Will house prices flatten like many experts are predicting? What do you think will happen now that the stamp duty holiday is over? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.